Good evening and welcome to Ignite News on 6 at 6. It's Monday, July 21st, 2025. I'm Rihanna Nikram. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. The BBC is promising $200 million fund for small business if re-elected. UK's top diplomat hails Guyana as a global leader in biodiversity. Mahdia will soon get its first ever commercial bank, ending decades of financial exclusion. And Guyana's remotest communities are getting medical aid via drone. President Irfan Ali has pledged to create a US $200 million fund to support small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, as part of the People's Progressive Party Civic's 2025 election campaign platform. The initiative, he said, will be launched if the PPC is re-elected and aims to provide businesses across Guyana with better access to capital and financial services. Speaking before more than 25,000 supporters at a massive rally in Albion, Berbice on Sunday, Dr. Ali said the fund would unlock opportunities for small business owners.
The Vice President, the Prime Minister spoke about our small and medium-sized enterprises. Let me tell you from Albion, Region 6 today, that we are going to set up a fund. We are going to set up a fund of $200 million to support our small and medium-sized enterprises.
He also announced plans to modernize the country's financial infrastructure, enabling faster and more efficient transactions for both consumers and businesses.
We're going to modernize the financial architecture of our country so that from your homes, from your bedroom, you can transact any business in Georgetown with the power of one card.
The proposed SME fund forms part of a broader development agenda. In Region 6, that includes new roads, schools, homes, and targeted agriculture support. According to Ali, the government intends to invest directly in citizens, co-invest with entrepreneurs, and offer low-interest loans to stimulate the private sector. He framed the promise as a way to create jobs, build wealth, and ensure a more resilient and diverse economy. Meanwhile, a Partnership for National Unity, APNU, presidential candidate Aubrey Norton, has promised to govern with honesty and integrity if the coalition is elected to office. Norton, who is the leader of the People's National Congress Reform, PNCR, the largest party in the coalition, made the promise while addressing a rally at Melanie, East Coast Demerara, on Sunday.
We want people in this country who, when the resources come to our economy, they will ensure that the resources meet the people of Guyana. We are saying to you, we will govern with integrity.
During the rally, APNU candidate Ganesh Paul also took to the podium and in his address claimed that the PPC has not kept its promises. He said the party had promised to bring back the sugar industry to break even and then profitability, but this has not occurred. The PPC in 2020 inherited an industry that was mostly shuttered and promised it would return industry to profitability. It did not, however, state that the turnaround would occur in its first term in office. Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa has explained that reviving the closed estates required the rehiring of thousands of retrenched sugar workers and significant investment. Maipos also claimed that the rice sector has not seen expanded and new markets delivered as promised. However, data from the Ministry of Agriculture indicates that rice production increased from 569,789 metric tons in 2021 to 725,282 metric tons in 2024. The Ghana Rice Development Board also reported receiving payments from Panama after 70 years and expanding exports to new and existing markets. He further claimed that the PPC promises to support small miners remain unmet. However, it is widely reported in the media that since 2020, the current government removed VAT on critical mining equipment and recently announced targeted support, including improved access, infrastructure, and financing for small miners. Ghana's strong track record in biodiversity conservation has earned high praise from United Kingdom's Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs, David Lammy. Speaking on United for Biodiversity, the Alliance podcast, Lammy called Guyana a vital biodiversity hotspot and applauded its leadership and rich natural resources. He said Ghana is uniquely positioned to help shape the upcoming Global Biodiversity Alliance Summit, thanks to its deep experience and commitment to protecting the environment.
I think it's wonderful that Guyana is hosting this very important global coalition and the alliance coming together. Guyana is a country that has done remarkably well to protect its rainforests. It's a country with 80% coverage of rainforests, and people forget the huge importance that Guyana plays in the Guyana Shield and to the Amazon Basin. And I'm very pleased that the United Kingdom continues to support countries like Guyana in their endeavours. We are absolutely committed to 30 by 30. It's essential that we get there. We also use our ICF and our climate finance, which totals £11.6 billion to contribute to supporting countries in their efforts.
Lamy noted that the UK Foreign Office continues to support development that benefits both nature and people. He says this includes using his influence in development banks like the World Bank and through climate finance support for countries like Guyana.
I'm delighted that Guyana has maintained its forests, but you will recognise that also with the oil find in Guyana, there is a danger that development also in Guyana does drive down communities to cut down trees. And it is important that we continue to support people's livelihoods.
As a passionate advocate for global action on biodiversity loss, Lamy stressed that tackling the climate and nature crisis is now a central part of UK foreign policy.
We're living in times where people are using climate to drive conflict, to drive energy crisis. And so it has to be central in the way that governments, particularly governments in the global north, seek to act. And we are absolutely doing that. That's why we're supporting initiatives in the Horn of Africa, where they're facing the tremendous effects of climate driving people to leave many of the countries in that region and try and make for Europe. That's why we're supporting the work of livelihoods in places like Brazil and Guyana. That's why we are leading where we also need to find more private finance. And I hope shortly to be coming forward with another initiative in which, yes, we're putting down UK money, but we're also trying to drive philanthropists and private equity to increase that money, to match that money, so we have more spend to go on conservation and biodiversity.
He also highlighted the importance of new efforts like the UK-led Global Clean Power Alliance, which helps countries speed up their transition to clean energy, another critical step in protecting the planet's biodiversity. The Global Biodiversity Alliance Summit will be hosted in Georgetown from July 23rd to 25th at the Arthur Chang Convention Center. The event will bring together world leaders, scientists, indigenous voices, and innovators, all working to protect our shared natural heritage. President Irfan Ali has promised major tax cuts for Ghana's productive sector, especially agriculture, if the People's Progressive Party Civic wins re-election. He was speaking to a crowd of over 25,000 supporters at a massive rally in Albion, Berbice on Sunday. Dr. Ali said farmers can expect reduced taxes, increased subsidies, and expanded access to land. He also pledged pastures for livestock, 2 feed plants, drying and storage facilities, drainage and irrigation upgrades, and crop insurance.
Our fisher folk, you are voting because we are going to ensure your survival by finding ways and implementing new policies to reduce your taxes and make your industry viable by giving you the tools, access to capital, and reduce interest rate to ensure that you also survive. You are voting for the most sustainable and prosperous future of Region 6. A future in which your economy will be diversified. A future in which you will pay lower taxes. And yes, our productive sector, especially agriculture, will see marked reduction in taxes and massive growth in support and subsidy for our farmers.
Ali also outlined a plan to make Berbice the site of Ghana's second oil and gas hub, with hotels and related industries to create more jobs. He said Region 6 will also benefit from a teaching hospital in New Amsterdam, a new power plant, a national cultural market, and a smart data center powered by artificial intelligence.
You are voting because your region will have the most sophisticated and state-of-the-art technical school in all of the Caribbean and Latin America right here. You are not only voting by putting your X, you are voting because your region will have the national and regional school of hospitality right here in your region.
He reaffirmed the PBC's support for sugar and rice and promised that by 2030, Region 6 would become the technical training capital of the Caribbean and Latin America.
You're not only voting because we're going to keep sugar alive and keep those sugar jobs alive. You're voting because we will give our sugar workers more and we want them to be part of the ownership of the industry.
Ali urged voters to give the PBC a massive majority to continue transforming the region. When we return, banking comes to Mahdia. Analysts say poverty in Guyana below 20%, and drones deliver medical supplies to the hinterland.
Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up, fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guyoil Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guyoil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Welcome back. Banking services are coming to Region 8. Residents and businesses in Mahdia, Region 8, will soon have direct access to banking services for the very first time. President Irfan Ali announced that a commercial bank will open a representative office in Mahdia within weeks, following talks with the financial sector. The office will operate 2 days a week, offering key services like deposits, withdrawals, loans, and account management. Right now, Mahdia residents have to travel all the way to Georgetown to access banking, a costly and time-consuming burden that hits small business owners, minors, and families the hardest. The president said this is part of his administration's plan to decentralize essential services and bring equity to all regions. Another company has also committed to installing ATMs in Mahdia and nearby areas, improving access to cash and reducing reliance on check cashing agents. This financial expansion supports the government's wider development push in Region 8, covering housing, agriculture, energy, education, and tourism. President Ali says better banking access means a stronger, more self-reliant hinterland economy. Still in the financial sector, financial analyst Joel Bagwandin has challenged statements suggesting poor management of the poverty rate within the country. He told Ignite News that poverty is less than 20% in 2025. A World Bank report in 2022 had asserted that Guyana's poverty level stood at 48% in 2019, among the highest in the Latin American and Caribbean region. Bagwandin said that despite a statement from the World Bank that it continues to use its 2019 information due to the lack of recent data, some persons continue to hold the outdated poverty rate as a current reality.
With respect to estimating the poverty level in Guyana, in the absence of an updated, credible, and reliable report or data on the poverty level, anecdotal and economic indicators suggest that the rate of poverty is significantly lower than 48%. For instance, base-level employees such as unskilled laborer or a domestic worker earn more than US $5 per day, which works out to $165 a month, 165 US dollars a month, or 34,400 Guyana dollars a month. A domestic helper earns $160,000 a month. A cleaner earns more than $80,000 a month. The lowest rank security officer earns more than $80,000 a month. A laborer in the construction sector earns at a minimum $5,000 a day, or 25 US dollars a day.
Bagwandin added that poverty is typically measured at the household level, and with successful social welfare programs, housing programs, the increase in net disposable income and vehicle ownership, among other indicators, it could be deduced that poverty has reduced significantly in Guyana.
Any academically honest and methodologically sound poverty assessment in Guyana, considering the comprehensive strategies employed by the present government aimed at poverty reduction would conclude that poverty has reduced dramatically from over 90% in the late 1980s to less than 20% in 2025.
Bagon then said his analysis of the country's poverty situation is guided by the principles of critical inquiry to critically examine, evaluate, and synthesize information regardless of their source. Some of Guyana's most remote communities are now receiving vital healthcare services thanks to a cutting-edge drone initiative led by U.S. company 19 Labs. The telemedicine and digital health provider has started using drones to deliver critical medical supplies to hard-to-reach rural areas. In an interview with Bloomberg Technology, CEO Ram Fisher said the company is partnering with the government of Guyana to improve access to health care in underserved communities.
We've been working in Guyana for the last few years. The president and the government over there is very eager to use technology to improve the country and use the newfound money from gas to actually have a positive impact. So we've been building a public-private partnership with them for the last few years, bringing advanced technology, starting with telemedicine, and now launching the drone delivery of medication, and bringing back from those rural indigenous communities blood samples or other goods to the regional hospitals.
Fisher said drones are essential because of the challenges involved in reaching remote regions. But with the help of technology, these challenges are now being overcome. In February, the Inter-American Development Bank announced its innovation arm, IDB Lab, partnered with 19 Labs to pilot drone deliveries in Guyana's hinterland. The initiative supports Guyana's growing telemedicine network with a cost-effective two-way drone delivery system that reaches even the most isolated areas. Through this partnership with the Ministry of Health, 19 Labs has already established 15 telemedicine centers, connecting regional hospitals with outlying health posts. More than 20,000 residents are expected to benefit. The IDB says the project will improve supply chain efficiency, reduce waste, and ensure that rural communities have consistent and emergency access to medications. Domestic aviation continues to improve as Roraima Airways has added 2 brand new twin-engine Tecnam P-2012 aircraft to its fleet. The official commissioning took place on Saturday at the Eugene F. Correa International Airport and brought together leaders from government and the aviation industry. Public Works Minister Juan Edgil said the government is committed to improving Guyana's air transport network, and the growing fleet is a sign of confidence in the sector.
Not only did we add 13 new aircraft for civilian use, but we have also enhanced and developed the entire aviation industry. For example, the Guyana and Roraima are buying new planes, and other operators are buying new planes and adding, but they don't want to be landing on some of the conditions they used to land on before. So Hinterland airstrip development is a key factor in the development of the overall aviation sector. And we're building out new airstrips, and we will continue to build out new airstrips so that we could get the length of runway for bigger planes carrying more persons, because one of the things that we have a keen eye on is the cost of getting persons and goods into the interior. So planes with greater efficiency in terms of fuel, planes that are new, which will significantly impact maintenance, cost, and the whole gamut of things. We are happy that we are seeing growth.
Captain Jerry Gavai Jr., Director of Roraima Airways, said the new fleet reflects the company's belief in Guyana's growth and its role in aviation innovation.
This is not just a ceremony, this is our bet on Guyana. This is our family saying that we believe in Guyana, we believe in where Guyana is going, And we, along with our partners and our staff and our team, we believe that this is how we will continue to innovate and redefine what is possible in the Caribbean and domestic aviation.
The event also welcomed dignitaries including EU Ambassador Rene Barnes, Guyana Civil Aviation Authority Director General Lieutenant Colonel Egbert Field, and Go Invest Chief Investment Officer Dr. Peter Ramsarup. Since 2021, Guyana has added 30 new aircraft to its registry, reflecting strong investor confidence and ongoing aviation growth. When we come back, top students honored in Region 10, suspect in the death of Linden teacher confess, and APA demands bar closure.
Your business is built on hard work, vision, and the drive to succeed. At GBTI, we understand what it takes to grow. That's why we offer Grow, a small business service designed to help your business expand, adapt, and reach its full potential. From new opportunities to new milestones, we're here to support you every step of the way. Grow from GBTI. Progress starts here.
You're watching Ignite News on 6 at 6. Thanks for staying with us. Region 10's top students will get a chance to tour the community. Top National Grade 6 Assessment and GSA performers from Region 10 were celebrated last week for their outstanding academic success in the 2025 exams. The award ceremony was hosted by Linden Fund USA in collaboration with Elite Kayaking and Nature Tours and honored the top 10 students with trophies, cash grants, and an all-expenses-paid kayaking tour. Among these awarded were Fernando Gomez, Renato Ramdiol, both of Regma Primary, and Omari Wilson of Utico Day Primary. Notably, all three were also winners in last year's LFU Spelling Bee sponsored by Anson McCall. Speaking at the ceremony hosted by LFU's Linden office on Wednesday, Linden Mayor Sharma Solomon praised the initiative.
For those two entities, Linden Fund and the Elite Kayaking Company, I want to encourage you on behalf of the Council to continue to invest in our community, where I always say government will play their part, and where institutions such as the municipality will do what they can. It is also important to have the community find means through institutions like Linden Fund and Elite Kayaking to get involved. And I think for that, very important that we are here this morning because of institutions like those. Let's give them a round of applause.
Region 10 Education Officer Nicola Matthews also commended the students and the organizations for highlighting the importance of such achievements.
It's always a privilege when we can be invited and we can collaborate together to ensure that our young children and the people of Region 10 can achieve and receive. These young minds that we have before us is the reason why we're here. And so, our Mayor, Mr. Solomon, Dr. Anderson, special invitees, parents, guardians, the media. Today we want to celebrate with our top 10 achievers of Region number 10. The Department of Education, as always is normal, will have a plan for what we want. Remember I said what we want. And so we set all things in place to ensure that we achieve that. The Ministry of Education on the other side will give us all the other tools. But the thing is, what do we do with what we have? That is very important.
Sabina Mendonça of Anson McCall Distribution Inc. shared words of encouragement with the honorees and their parents.
As you face the future, I encourage you, the students, and even encourage the parents to be motivated. This is just one step in the good direction, the right direction that you have taken.
Dr. Diane Anderson, board member of LFU and owner of Elite Kayaking, also delivered remarks. Following the ceremony, students were treated to a guided kayaking tour of Karkar Blue Lake and the rainforest-lined Karkar Creek, two of the region's natural wonders.
I feel happy.
How about you? Especially these three that were in this spelling bee. All right, let me hear.
Amazing. I'm happy to be here. I feel elated and happy to be here.
Organizers say the partnership aims to both celebrate student excellence and promote ecotourism in Region 10. There's also some sad news coming out of Region 10 this evening. The suspect in the murder of Linden teacher, 26-year-old Janelle Polydor, has confessed to the killing. 21-year-old Shaka Phillips, also known as Concrete Man, told police he shot Polydor, the mother of his children, after she didn't answer his phone calls. He said he found her speaking to another man at a wedding reception in Amelia's ward on July 19th and confronted her. When an argument broke out, he claimed he pulled a gun from his shoulder bag and opened fire. Phillips said Polydor ran into the hotel yard, but he chased her and shot her again. He fled the scene on a bicycle and went into hiding. He later told investigators that he dumped the weapon into the Demerara River near Adams Boat Landing. Due to the spring tide conditions, police were unable to begin a search for the gun. His confession was both audio and video recorded. Police said they are also taking statements from eyewitnesses as the investigation continues. Janelle Polydor is survived by her 3 children, her family, and friends. The Amerindian People's Association is calling for the permanent closure of Ragu Sports Bar in Soosdijk, following the alleged rape of a young Indigenous woman at the venue. The APE wants the government and the Guyana Revenue Authority to revoke all licenses held by the bar's owner, calling the incident a blatant violation of human dignity that insults women everywhere. The 20-year-old victim says she was drugged and raped by 3 men at the bar. The case gained national attention after a disturbing video of the assault surfaced on social media. Police have since closed the bar, arrested several suspects, and confirmed that the woman escorted by the APA's Laura George made an official report at the Timeri police station. The association has also condemned patrons who filmed the attack instead of intervening, calling for criminal charges against them as well. Still ahead, Fernandez and Ins take the spotlight. Mitchell Owen smashes his way to debut House Century, and Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister orders her parliamentarians to cool down. Welcome back. Champions crowned on the squash court as Nicholas Fernandez and Daniel Ins thrilled the crowd with standout performances at the ENET Nationals. In sports, Nicholas Fernandez and Daniel Ins were crowned national squash champions on Saturday night, thrilling fans at the National Racquet Center in Georgetown. The 42-year-old Fernandez swept past 31-year-old Mary Fungafat in straight sets, 11-8, 11-0, 11-5, to claim her 12th Women's National Elite title. Fernandez, a former Central American and Caribbean Games gold medalist, once again proved why she's considered squash royalty in Guyana. In the men's final, 35-year-old Daniel Ince outplayed his 21-year-old cousin, Samuel Ince Carvajal, in a gripping contest winning 12-10, 11-4, and 12-10. Their match featured a memorable 30-shot rally and ended with a standing ovation as the cousins embraced. It was Daniel's first national title, wrapping up the 2025 ENET Senior National Championships, which also shone a spotlight on emerging talent. Sponsor representative Robert Hiscock was on hand to congratulate the players. Mitchell Owen smashed a half-century on debut as Australia claimed a 3-wicket win over the West Indies in the first T20 International in Jamaica. Owen struck 6 sixes in his 27-ball 50, including one off Andre Russell to get off the mark, and put on 80 with Cameron Green, who made 51 from just 26 balls. The visitors successfully chased 190 with 7 balls to spare at Sabina Park. Owen fell with just 15 runs left, but Ben Duarshuis and Sean Abbott saw them home. Earlier, West Indies captain Shea Hope hit 55, and Roston Chase added 60, but the middle order collapse saw them fall short of 200. Duarshuis finished with 4 for 36, including the wicket of Russell, who is set to retire after the second T20 on Tuesday. The West Indies are under pressure following a 3-0 Test series defeat earlier this month. Regionally, Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister, Kamla Prasad Bisesar, has ordered members of her government to avoid parties and social events during the ongoing state of emergency. The directive follows public backlash after several United National Congress (UNC) parliamentarians were seen at recent social functions. According to the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, the move is meant to show seriousness and sensitivity while the nation remains under heightened security. Minister in the Ministry of Housing, Philip Alexander, confirmed the order and defended the state of emergency, saying it was requested by the police and backed by legal advice from the Attorney General. The issue gained attention after UNC MPs attended a rescheduled U.S. Embassy Independence Day event. While Alexander called it a networking opportunity, he admitted the optics were bad and confirmed he skipped a separate event in Tobago. Meanwhile, UNC Public Relations Officer Kirk Megu said a planned public meeting in Cova, where the Prime Minister was to speak, was cancelled due to security concerns. In international news, Reuters is reporting that farmers across Latin America could face major disruptions if the U.S. imposes secondary sanctions on buyers of Russian exports, especially fertilizers, critical to crops like soybeans, corn, and avocados. In Brazil alone, Russian imports account for a third of fertilizer use. Experts say there's no easy replacement if those supplies are cut off. Russia's fertilizer shipments to Brazil jumped nearly 30% in the first half of this year, despite earlier stockpiling after the war in Ukraine began. Mexico also relies heavily on Russian urea for crops like corn, sorghum, wheat, and even avocados. Over 80% of Mexico's avocado exports go to the U.S., and rising costs could impact American prices. Colombia, another top fruit and flower exporter, also depends on Russian fertilizer. The World Bank says rising fertilizer costs have already fueled inflation across Central America, deepening the region's cost of living crisis. Fertilizer giant Mosaic says geopolitical tensions are delaying sales in Brazil, risking late delivery for crops like soybeans. Despite government plans to ramp up domestic production, Brazil and Mexico still face hurdles, from costly inputs to underperforming state industries. Russian producers say they're unfazed and plan to expand their global market share by 2030. We close this evening with sad news. Tragedy struck in Dhaka today when a Bangladesh Air Force training jet crashed into a school and college campus, killing at least 19 people and injuring 164. The F-7 BGI jet took off at 1:06 p.m. local time from the Karmatola Air Force Base, but developed mechanical problems shortly after takeoff. A military spokesperson said the pilot made a valiant attempt to avoid populated areas, but the aircraft crashed into a 2-story building at Milestone School and College. Footage from the scene shows heavy smoke rising, flames near the lawn, and the twisted wreckage lodged in a school building. One third-grade student died on arrival at the Dhaka Medical College and Hospital, while several other children and adults are being treated for burns and injuries. Eyewitnesses say they heard a loud explosion before seeing fire and smoke fill the sky. The pilot was among the dead. A full investigation has been launched. The crash comes just weeks after a deadly Air India plane crashed on top of a medical college hostel in Ahmedabad, in neighboring India. That crash killed 241 of the 242 people on board and 19 on the ground, making it the world's worst aviation disaster in a decade. And that's all for this edition of Ignite News on 6 at 6. For more stories, visit ignitenews.com or follow us on social media. Thanks for watching. I'm Rihanna Nekram. See you tomorrow for more Ignite News.